Alright, so hello guys. So in today's video I'm going to talk about two things: the dynamic island and the action button. The action button was formerly the silent button, but Apple, for some reason, they've changed it now and they call it the action button. So first, I'm going to start with the dynamic island. The dynamic island came as a kind of redefining a kind of hardware software thing. From iPhone X and then iPhone 11, 12, 13 and 14 thereabout. So there was a critic. It came as a form of critic that there was a notch or a bump, a notch in the front facing camera. It was something that it was very funny. If you look at and Samsung criticizing iPhone about the notch everywhere on the internet, and a lot of people, were not really comfortable with it. So Apple now kind of changed that, something that has been of a critic to something new, and then now it comes as dynamic island. They call it the dynamic island. Personally, when the dynamic island thing was introduced on the iPhone 14 and Pro, I felt like it was a gimmick because it was something that it was a kind of deja vu, and like I've seen it on Android phones or maybe the Samsung. It was a kind of an idea, but it was the Apple thing. They changed it, the Apple thing, something like that. But so now what can the dynamic island do? When it's like minimizing stuff when you using your phone for some reason and playing music, answering calls, receiving text messages. So whatever you do on your phone, when you minimize it, it goes to the dynamic island. So that now enables you not to really necessarily goes back to the icon and tapping it, but you just go there. If you're playing music, for example, and you just minimize your phone, minimize your music, and you want to do another thing, you just go to the dynamic island. So the dynamic island can hold a lot of apps as much as possible, depends on the current position and what you are doing at a particular time. So it just goes up to the dynamic island and then it's set there. But one thing I was worried or bothered about, like, you cannot really enjoy the dynamic island on the iPhone 14 Pro Max and the iPhone 15 Pro Max because they are kind of bigger, but on the iPhone 15 Pro, is 6.1 inches, but the iPhone 15 Pro Max is 6.7 inches. So if you want to do it, like tap the dynamic island, you are like it's more like you are traveling all the way from the bottom of your phone to the top of your phone. But if you're using a 6.1 inch phone, you can just do that with one hand. But for those who have kind of big thumbs, it's something that you can easily do. So that's just it for the dynamic island. I think for me it's more like a gimmick, but at the same time, because to be honest, in the release or the launch of the iPhone 14, that was the only new feature that Apple kind of introduced on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. So it was a dynamic island. So now let's dive into the action button. So the action button is capable of doing a lot of things. You just press it and hold it. If you want to set up the action button, what you're going to do is you just go to settings, and then you have your action button there, and then you have a whole lot of features there. You have your silent mode, you have your focus, you have your camera, you have your voice memo, you have your magnifier, you have your accessibility, and then there are a whole lot of things that you have to do with the action button. So all you need to do is just make it, customize the key. All right, so for instance, now I'm using the silent mode, or if I want to use camera, I'll just press it and then hold it, press it and then hold it. All right, so to recap, guys, with these two features Apple introduced now, the dynamic island, we started on the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max, and then now on the iPhone 15 lineup. And then you have your action button there, which was formerly the silent button, but now you are able to customize a lot of things. So what do you think about these two features? Because it's like Apple kind of introduced some new packages to the iPhone lineup now. So hopefully iPhone 16 by next year we are going to have a whole lot of new things now. So what do you think about these new features? Is it new innovation, or is just something that Apple love beating around the bush and then coming out to do something? So give your take down there in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye bye.